戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Tour.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is February 18th, 2026. We are live to tape on episode 917. And today, Zorro Sorrow. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films and author of Archetypalism, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Ramadan for our Islamic friends. It is Ash Wednesday for the Christians to repent and feel guilty about all of their things.
Are those two things usually falling on the same day, or
I don't think so. I don't think they do. But
Okay.
special occasion. Also, the Ring of Fire over Antarctica as we ring in the year of the fire horse in the Chinese calendar. I mean, it's all happening all at once, Basil. It's the end of the world.
Big day, big week. Yeah, there's been, it's really funny when you can kind of watch the flow of, either psyops or social engineering or just whatever, especially if you're on a couple different platforms, you can kind of feel it coming on. You wake up in the morning, you see something, and then just suddenly the feed is flooded with whatever the message of the day or messages of the day are today, Gonz. And the past couple of days, for some reason, a ton of astrology ladies, kind of crunchy hippie ladies.
Their time. They have been brought to the forefront of culture. It's their time to explain to us what's happening with the stars.
Just everywhere. I mean, you could see if you were like a crunchy astrology lady and you had a crunchy astrology social media account, and suddenly on fire horse, solar eclipse, Saturn, Jupiter day, whatever it is, suddenly you get 1,000 times more, views and stuff than you usually get. You'd be pretty, I guess, justified thinking that, the position of Saturn and Jupiter affected your social media presence when, who knows? Maybe it was Saturn or Fire Horse planet or something. I don't know.
It's all starting to jumble together.
They're certainly trying to build up. This is what I noticed when the astrology, posts kind of flood the feed, it's kind of like a first sign that they want you to think something big is coming.
Right.
Some big event, prepare yourself. And they're all like, let go of the old, and you're stepping into your new timeline and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, sounds like maybe we're going to war, or maybe sounds like the stock market's going to crash or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's a good
the
part of
Iran,
the social engineering equation,
yeah, the Iran thing seems to be in the scope of the public right now with all the World War III stuff. I'm seeing here that the overlap of the three different things, the Chinese New Year, Ash Wednesday, and Ramadan, happens roughly, the three overlapping roughly happens once every 30 to 35 years, which would average about 33 years, Basil. That's yeah.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War. 30.
Now, I'm curious about the eclipse, though, because how often does that happen as well? And I'm still digging through that. It doesn't look like that. Yeah, like the solar ring of fire at the same time as Chinese New Year, at the same time as Ramadan, at the same time as Ash Wednesday.
Well, Chinese New Year is a solar New Year, so a lunar New Year. So it makes sense that they would.
Ramadan. Isn't Ramadan based on the lunar calendar as well?
I don't know, man. You said in the beginning, Ramadan for our Islamic friends. I'm realizing I don't think I have a single Islamic friend. I don't know if I know personally a person who is Muslim. I'm trying to think. I can't think of one.
A handful of friends growing up. And I know some people.
So I've got nobody to ask, and Lord knows I'm not going to ask the internet these types of questions.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what do we got going on such an auspicious day, Guns?
Oh, there's a lot happening. What's the first thing happening according to our show? Well, it's the thing that we've been discussing for a long time. It's sewer surveillance.
We'll control them with toileting.
It's one of the things that we jokingly, but also legitimately, pride ourselves with is the sewer surveillance topic. We jumped all over it either 2020 or 2021. Right as the COVID stuff was happening, we noticed that they were doing some sewer testing, and we thought, wow, this is a violation of our privacy in ways that we never thought were possible. And now it's becoming more of a prevailing topic. And in the context of this next story, I do find it interesting. FoxNews.com, wealthy coastal enclave's dirty secret revealed through wastewater testing surveillance.
Ooh.
Sub-headline, Nantucket cocaine levels spiked to nearly 3,000 nanograms per liter in October, while national average stayed under 1,000.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Ooh, their dirty little secret. Like nobody knew that rich people were doing cocaine. There's gambling in the casino, Guns?
Yeah, Nantucket may be the perfect summer destination for coastal New England vibes, but new data shows that the famously picturesque island off the coast of Massachusetts is not without some flaws. How do we find out? Recent wastewater surveillance reporting shows once again, as it has before, that cocaine levels in sewer water have been well above the national average from July 2025 to February 2026. In October, levels spiked to 2,948.7 nanograms per liter, while the national average remained under 1,000. So they're doing 3 times as much cocaine in Nantucket, apparently, than the rest of the country.
As the article mentions, Nantucket is traditionally a summer destination. Rich people have their summer houses. There's very few people who actually live there year round. And considering October is you're going into fall, things start cooling off, the summer activities, the summer ketamine is over. As all rich Nantucket people know, ketamine is for summer, cocaine is for autumn, winter is for heroin, and spring
I did not know this.
yes.
There's a drug calendar? I didn't know about this. What
It's,
is
you know,
this?
you gotta be I've known some rich people in my life, Gone, so not
Okay.
that I've
Oh, they have
necessarily
seasons. All right.
partaked but I've been around. I understand, you know, rich people, they're not like us, okay? They do things a little differently. As the famous saying goes on the topic of astrology, millionaires use charts,
Yes, for
billionaires
everything.
use astrology.
Right.
And, you know, to everything there's a season, and to the millionaires and billionaires of Nantucket, there's a season for each new heavy drug that needs to
So
be detected in their sewer stuff. It's actually a form of communication, Gons.
right.
It's
I'm
kind of
just wondering what alignment or what you know, what are those things
Go
called
ahead.
when they line up
Uh-huh.
together in the sky?
Zodiac. Zodiac.
Not zodiac. Well, that too, but
Oh my gosh.
yeah. I mean, what constellation
Mhm.
determines the drug? Is it like
Yeah, it's very good. I don't know. It's not for us to know, Gons, but it's like
okay?
the
All right.
Freemason hiding in plain sight, you know, speaking through numerology, speaking through numbers, speaking through television shows and movies, things like this. The rich in Nantucket, they speak to each other and the other elites around the world through the nanograms per liter of various drugs throughout the year. So
We
this
know.
is this is
Uh-huh.
actually well known. I'm not even making this up
Yeah,
off the
yeah, yeah.
top of my head right now. This is a decade. We stand on the shoulders of giants when it comes to discerning this very secretive messaging technique that's been around since Skull and Bones, ever since the Bavarian Illuminati. It's in even the alchemists of old would use
Mm-hmm.
this sort of and I don't think it's a surprise that this news report comes out the day after Firehorse New Year,
Mm-hmm.
and right before we go to war with Iran. I think
Mm-hmm.
you can put the codes, the clues together, and it's all very clear.
This is the dead giveaway that these are sort of the elite folk and not your run of the mill normie. The
Mhm.
same tests found below average levels of fentanyl, a deadly
Of course,
synthetic opiate blamed for overdose around the country. So yeah,
it's a
the triple
four-person
the
drug.
amount of cocaine
Fent
below average on fentanyl. That tells you everything you need to
Fent
know,
is
I
for the
think.
poor's, Gons.
Yeah,
We know
fentanyl
this.
for the
We've known
force.
this for a while. Fent is for the locals of New York and San Francisco, and good old-fashioned cocaine is for the rich
I
people.
wonder what
Okay.
this means. This is a quote here. Quote, but what Nantucket has now decided to do as of the beginning of the summer is to actually start testing for other types of substances, particularly drugs, nicotine, and other items, within the system there. And
Mhm.
what they're finding is that there's a high level of cocaine. Okay, so this is just
Yeah,
last year. They decided to surveil the people, the elite travelers to Nantucket. So there you go. If you go to Nantucket, use a toilet, you're on the map. You're
that's
on the
right.
surveillance. The eye of Sauron is watching you.
Well, I think
Every
it's
nanoparticle.
interesting, because of course, Mamdani just took over New York, and there's been lots of videos coming out lately that the streets of New York are not only littered with giant mountains of garbage, but also human feces sort of everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So this could be New Yorkers avoiding the sewer surveillance of, their new communist dictator Mamdani, and just putting their waste right there on the side of the road. So no sneaky little sewer goblins in lab coats can, detect what's going on. I don't know. Uh,
Okay.
all right, what else? I mean, and if anybody was wondering what the sort of biblical import of this is, I mean, we're talking about the merchants of the earth. Hello,
Mhm.
Nantucket, the rich people, and their pharmakia, the
Mhm. There you go.
magic and the alchemy and the drugs. It's
Right there in
all
Revelation
ties
18
together.
there. Yeah, 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 of course. All right, some other quick things here to mention.
Who should we tickle next? I am not a lizard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, real quick here. There was a Business Insider headline here. Death isn't the end. Meta patented an AI that lets you keep posting from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
I feel, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, we've covered this from a long time ago, right?
Multiple angles to this, yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while, the necromancy of AI. This isn't the first time we've heard of this, at least on this show. We've covered this for, a few years ago, back
Yeah,
when AI
flavors of
was
this, for
catching
sure.
on. But this was making the rounds again. And very interestingly, I think the most interesting part of this was the 4chan piece that was dug up. For those who don't know, long story short, I'll give you the 4chan. This was the 4chan post that allegedly came out 2023, February.
Almost 3 years ago to the day. Yeah.
Right. February 23rd, 2023. Now, 4chan, for those who don't know, is about as close to the dark web as you can get without going on the dark web. It's an anonymous forum famous for, propagating QAnon stuff, lots of criminal activity, but, sort of the Wild West of the internet, which currently does not exist in its form anymore, at least that I know of. But 2023 was sort of the end of its lifespan. And if anybody's ever been on X or social media, you've probably seen the very famous formatting of a QAnon post. It's a very recognizable image. It has green letters, but red letters, sort of different shades.
Tan background is what really.
So you've probably seen this before. And it's also, it's interesting in the context of PSYOPs because there's an endless amount of 4chan posts, both on the website and not on the website, that basically, speak to any crazy idea, any crazy conspiracy, anything, anywhere. So, there's been lots of quote unquote whistleblowers. Many of these posts, are nonsense. Many of them are just the ravings of crazy people. But it is, as always in this business, Gaunt, only a matter of time before something is proven out to be a true conspiracy or whistleblower or not. And the thing that's very interesting on this post is it reads like this from an anonymous poster in 2023. I'm a meta insider working on Project Lazarus. We're building an AI that can take over a deceased person's social media accounts and continue making relevant posts as if that person is still alive. This includes age-progressed photos, interacting with other people's content, and everything else we need so that person continues on the digital realm after physical death. We were originally told this would be a service offered to people struggling with the loss of loved ones and people who had missing children, which is interesting because that's the excuse we've heard for several of these necromantic AI services.
Yeah, in fact, we documented, especially, I believe it was in China, there was a whole, I think we played the whole clip of the woman. It was like a VR room. Yeah. Okay. So it's not exactly social media, but yes, we've seen sort of this AI and technology being used for struggling with death.
Yeah. What's interesting with this particular post is if this was indeed an insider, which they knew about this 3 years ago, it's very possible that this is true. The interesting thing to me is that those who were working on it were told that it's for a certain purpose, right? Because it's very important when you start talking about these crazy tech companies and their, the conspiracies and the this and the that. The first thing people will say to any conspiracy is, well, there's just too many people working on it. Nobody could keep that secret, or they can't have that many evil people wanting to blah, blah, blah. And what this reveals is, those who are working on the technology are told one thing. Now it goes on here. Loss of loved ones and people who had missing children seemed like a decent idea. Things are getting weird now, and I'm having second thoughts about what this is actually going to be used for. The AI is extremely capable of impersonating people. It doesn't take as much initial input as one might think to train the AI how a certain person interacts with the digital world. It's very convincing. An entire island of people could go missing, and with little to no downtime, the AI could take over all of their social media, and the world wouldn't have a clue that life wasn't just continuing as usual. A lot of the project is becoming more compartmentalized, as these things do. Things have taken a dark turn. It feels like They've forbidden communication between people working on different things. Something isn't right, and I don't know what I should do. I'm not going to post any personally identifiable information, but I will try to answer questions that won't expose my role within the project. So, very interesting right off the bat. Again, if this was indeed a real whistleblower to this story, which, by the way, the article from Business Insider that is announcing this program from Meta came out February 11th. So they finally announced the product here. To 3 years
but
after the post.
it's interesting because the Business Insider post does state Andrew Bosworth, Meta CTO, is listed as the primary author of the patent, which was first filed in 2023.
Yeah. So
which is the year that the post was made, the 4chan post was made.
The 4chan whistleblower post.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you think, he talks about how impressed he is with the AI back in 2023. We know now that it's just an entirely different set of circumstances with how quickly and with what quality AI is able to produce what it's told to produce. But even there, the guy behind the scenes being like, some doesn't feel right. They're not letting us talk to each other. He says a whole island of people, could disappear, and digitally, nobody would know. And of course, this speaks directly to another sort of crypto or digital necromantic idea of the dead internet theory. So this, of course, is basically Meta, Facebook, announcing that
the capabilities of dead internet. They are the ones
theory,
that will.
Yeah, everybody could die, and we could keep the entire internet running at the exact pace that it's running now.
Necro-capitalism.
Profiteers of death.
I like the CTO here. He's quoted on the Business Insider article. "We have no plans to move forward with this example." A spokesperson from Meta told Business Insider. It's like, yeah, we have this patent, almost as if they knew that this 4chan post would go viral on social media. Why else would they announce this? Well, if they're not going to even move forward with it, what's the point of even?
Well, I think they were talking about an earlier example that they gave. It says, but a couple paragraphs down, it says like this: in the patent, Meta lays out why it thinks people might need this, because that's the question. Why should we need this? If you're no longer posting online, whether that's because you need a break from social media or you die, your followers' user experience will be affected. In short, they'll miss you. Quote, the impact on the users is much more severe and permanent if that user is deceased and can never return to social networking platform, the document says. To fill that void, Meta would essentially create a digital clone of your social media presence, training a model on user-specific data, including historical platform activity such as comments, likes, or content, to understand how you would, or rather did, behave. That clone can then respond to other people's content by liking on and on and on. And so what the actual patent talks about is it's not even we're cloning and replicating the dead person for the family of the dead person or even for them to continue their brand or something. It's to continue to engage that person's followers. And you might think, well, that's very sweet of Meta to think of the, whatever 100 people that follow Basil on Facebook or something. But you go one layer down from that. What it really is Meta continuing its own engagement farming revenue model. Because if
they can keep they get the clicks, they get the views, they get all the engagement to continue on ad infinitum, even if you die.
They monetize you and your personality for their own benefits. They're not monetizing it for your family or for whatever reason. If you are, an avid social media user, they clone you, keep you going for their own profitability, to keep the people who followed you engaged with this ghost of yourself, which an extremely dark twist, I'd say. Even from the original whistleblower post, giving the implication that entire whatever genocides could happen and nobody online would even know about it. The fact that the patent itself basically explicitly says this is so we can continue to monetize the dead person ad infinitum. It's like a whole nother dark layer. I mean, necromancy has always been a vile and demonic practice that sacrifices the sort of humanity and well-being of the practitioner. But like any sort of demonic black magic, there's a trade, right? The necromancer is trading something important of themselves in order to gain the power and whatever that necromancy brings. And it turns out Meta is very enthusiastic about making this trade.
Yeah, in the context of Revelation 9:6, well, culturally relating to that verse, because it is talking about the opening of the abyss and these creatures coming out and torturing humans, and they want the humans wanting to die but can't. But just if we isolate sort of the passage, just the verse there, and we've always mentioned it as a possible reference to a point in history where people will upload their brains to computers and they'll be conscious but can't die because they're stuck in a machine, kind of thing. In that context, it's like, oh, look, we're going to already do it. Like the data will live on and it's going to do what you would do anyway. It's providing the bridge to that next level where it's like, well, your algos are going to keep going. So, I mean, what's harm in trying to get your consciousness to go into that machine too? I don't know. It's just a few years away probably, but
yeah, who knows?
It does seem like a brick in the wall of that type of thing. But it says you're getting into the business of grief tech. Grief tech. Have we discussed it in the context of the phrase grief tech?
We have discussed grief tech before. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think I recognize death bots, ghost bots, and in the context of grief tech. Replica. Is that where we talked about it? 2015? Okay, they're maybe mentioning some of the stuff we talked about. But anyway, this is I mean, I think, you're right. The post from 4chan from years ago and this idea of islands of people disappearing. I just think of, because we're in this moment right now, of Iran. Like you just talked about, maybe it was off air, we're starting to see different narratives from foreign accounts on the timeline of X and stuff, providing a different type of narrative, or maybe like an inside narrative to what's going on in other places in the world. And it just in the sort of, I don't know, mental exercise of this post's concerns, if they did drop a nuke on, not a nuke necessarily, I don't know, maybe some kind of EMP or something where they wipe out an entire nation. I mean, it'd be kind of hard to keep quiet if it's Iran, but
all we know about Iran is online social media posts.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the thing with the protests, with the this, with the that. Of course, Iran has quite the lockdown on their country's internet, but we heard this valiant story of how Elon smuggled in Starlinks to help the protesters, and suddenly they could keep uploading all their videos. And now, you apply this Lazarus system, which is designed to replicate, 1 to infinity amounts of known social media accounts. You include the ability for AI to just pump out extremely convincing pieces of video. I mean, who knows? It's just like a full-on Matrix situation. Maybe there's maybe no Iran even exists. Maybe it's just a bunch of AIs, well, it just goes back to tail wagging the dog, right? The theatrical, globally theatrical program of making everybody believe that there's a war going on, when in fact, in this case, we're entirely equipped with the technology to basically, we're basically brains in jars as it is.
At this point, we've been reduced.
Anything, literally any
experiment.
Anything on the internet. Most people's entire view of what's going on the entire planet, and that includes us, comes from one way or another, comes from the internet. And the fact that the technology is in place and has been for so long to basically just invent everything from, you take away the internet, I am just a guy out in the desert with some emus, and I have no idea what's going on out there. Without the, you know, that's partly, you might not even be real, Gons. It's been a long time since I've seen you in real life.
That's true. I mean, I'm more skeptical about the googly eyes on the other side of this call every time, but you know, it just is what it is. In this context, I did notice that in the last few days, Basil, I've never seen this before on my X timeline, but I started seeing posts from the supreme leader, Khamenei. This is the official account.
Yeah, Khomeini. Yes, I've been getting X posts rolling.
Yeah, I see this. I don't think that's a mistake. It's weird that we're starting to get these, and it was specifically this post right here. This is what he said: "The island of corruption is only one example. There is much more of this. Just as this was not apparent and then became exposed, there are many other things that will soon come to light." I mean, way to put a wrench in everything Iran in the conversation. The Epstein thing is being utilized like the ultimate crowbar or something to like rip open. Yeah,
as we knew it would. And put that, so along with that, there's been some less official accounts for those who don't know. For those who are just listening, this is the Khomeini. He's the leader of Iran. It has the gray check mark, which is a official government check mark. So this is, you know, allegedly coming from the leader of Iran, or maybe it's just coming from Elon, who just booted up a Khomeini X account to just put whatever out there. You know, it could all be fake. But along with that, I'm getting a lot of other posts flying by from random Iranian accounts, you know, Iranian army accounts or Iranian freedom fighters or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
one of them was putting out the idea that Iranian hackers have video and photos of Trump from Epstein's island, and if Trump attacks Iran, we'll put out these videos. And it's like, you know, trying to blackmail Trump, you know, on social media or whatever. But the Epstein thing, notice, you know, we've been through this Iran thing before, and we'll get into some Iranian stories here in a moment. We've been through this war with Iran thing before. We've been through it twice now with Trump. We have been on the brink of war with Iran twice already. We are here right now for the third time in his presidency. So, you know, who knows if something happens or doesn't happen. But the big difference this time around is that for all I can tell, you know, from all we can tell, there has been an enormous amount of messaging coming out of Iran specifically about regarding the Epstein files, right? So what's different this time is that Iran, instead of, you know, tweeting death to America, you know, the white devil or whatever, they're specifically not only tweeting, hey, you remember the island? There's a lot worse stuff. Or, hey, we got stuff from Trump on the island. Don't come at us. We got the Trump stuff. But then remember the burning of the Baal statues that were very specifically messaging about, you know, a satanic pedophile elite ruling the West that we saw. And we are so surprised last week to see that those Baal statue burning protests were state-sponsored protests. So at the very least, Iran is full on positioning itself to be anti-Epstein. The West must fall because of the threat pedophile elite.
Because they're burning the statue of Bailey, the whole thing, right?
Which at least creates the response that they're looking for. If Trump now, you know, and of course Israel and everybody goes after Iran right now, it looks as if that they are defeating Iran to continue to hide the sins of the Epstein files, which is a pretty effective messaging. If somebody, you know, on the chessboard of messaging wars, narrative wars, it's a pretty clever move for the leaders of Iran to make this entire operation of possibly invading Iran in the next 2 days. Just make it all about Epstein.
Make it all about Epstein. Yeah,
it's very effective.
The whole Baal statue thing in response, we covered it when it was going down last week. But the reply from BB, did you see that? Where it's like, oh, this is waging war against the West and against Israel and all this stuff. And it was like,
Yeah, there's something like
defending the Baal statue. That's
right,
really weird, bro.
there was something to the effect of burning a Baal statue is anti-Semitic.
Right,
which I
right. It's like you're okay.
think that really came across the way
Logic is not working. Okay, so speaking of 4chan here, this is a post allegedly from 4chan, since we're going into Iran and World War III stuff.
Which, by the way, we're
Mhm.
gonna do this other 4chan post. It's funny because, you know, we got a stream of 4chan whistleblowers here that are speaking into things. I wonder, again, just in the grand chessboard of narrative, we've got a 4chan post about Iran we're going to look at right now. Why should we believe this 4chan post about Iran? Why should anybody care? Well, it just so happened to be that just yesterday or the day before, this other 4chan post about Project Lazarus came out. So,
Mhm.
you know, you wonder why, you know, why now? Why Meta right now coming out about Project Lazarus? Well, perhaps if not only, you know, if not strategized by man, perhaps an interesting, you know, reflection of the spiritual realm onto the material realm. It's creating credibility for random 4chan posts, and just in time for this random 4chan post about Iran.
Yep. Anonymous posted Tuesday, 17th of February. I posted yesterday. Yep. I posted yesterday with a 36-hour timeline. We are now in the 24-hour window. Look for a significant number of Iranians' leadership to be exterminated. The leadership of Iran is made up of a secret council of 22 military and political leaders who meet regularly in a bunker in Tehran. One of their members is a Mossad agent. Needless to say, this group goes first. Israel knows after the last few years that this is the time to end this poop show, and tactical nukes will take out most of Iran's missile infrastructure in the first strike. Tehran will go in the first wave with a false flag attack set up for Israel to kick things off. Cheers! Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
And then there was this other post here. I guess this other post was a few minutes before that one that I just read. We did this backwards. Venezuela was a test for what is happening in Iran. A large part of the Iranian military and leadership will be vaporized in the opening salvo. Israel will use tactical nukes to take out Iranian missiles and their bases. We are about T-3 days now. That was the 17th. It's the 18th. So we're looking at this week, tomorrow or Friday for this thing. Allegedly. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Oh, it's Chris Saliza's birthday on Friday.
Happy birthday, Chris.
It'll be a wonderful present for Chris Saliza.
And one notable thing for those who are just listening is on these anonymous posts, you are able to post a picture to kind of represent whatever you want. And the picture that this anonymous poster posted is just the CIA logo.
The CIA logo.
The old CIA logo, by the way. Remember they redid their logo to look like some sort of
I thought they put it back. Didn't they? I think they put it back after all the backlash, especially since the Trump regime.
Yeah, I don't recall. Maybe Trump changed it back. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, part of what people were pointing out is that these claims, I don't know, it's loosely, but people are pointing it out, the connections. Axios had this post, was it this morning or yesterday? Oh no, is it blocked for me? No, I'm behind a paywall. I must unpaywall. But it's Trump moves closer to a major war with Iran, and it basically outlines.
I have the bullet points of the Axios.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
From somebody else's posts here, but Axios reports that there is evidence that U.S. war with Iran is imminent, and Israel is preparing for a scenario of war within days, which is expected to include 1 weeks-long full-fledged war, unlike the Venezuela operation, sources say. 2, joint U.S.-Israeli campaign that is much broader in scope than 12-day war in June. 3, U.S. Armada now consists of 2 aircraft carriers, 12 warships, hundreds of fighter jets, and multiple air defense systems. 4, more than 150 U.S. military cargo flights have moved weapon systems and ammunition to the Middle East. 5, another 50 fighter jets in 24 hours, including F-35s, F-22s, and F-16s. And then it mentions oil prices rising. There was another report from the Wall Street Journal that the U.S. has pulled all of its forces out of the Syria conflict. I don't know exactly how many forces were there in Syria, but moving them out of Syria, I guess presumably to position them for Iran. I'm not so sure.
I was hearing that as much as a third of one of our military branches is
the Navy.
deployed.
A third of our Navy, is out there.
Which seems like a lot, doesn't it? A third of all of our Navy is over there?
Yeah, although I believe we had half of our Navy, maybe even more than half, sitting outside of Venezuela at the time.
Oh, okay. So this is,
but,
this
it's still a
time
lot. A third's a lot. It's not nothing.
What's the ratio just in general in terms of like worldwide deployment when it comes to these military branches? I mean, there's people always around the world, stationed around the world. So I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but I don't know. I'm seeing these dramatic graphics of these aerial shots of Europe and all these Navy fighters coming in or something, airplanes.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, here's the thing. If Axios is reporting it and the Wall Street Journal are reporting it with such certainty, I mean, when will these outlets learn that if Trump is leading you to be certain that one thing is going to happen, almost always something else happens? It's almost always the unexpected version that ends up happening. I don't know.
You're so bold to predict such things, Basil. Would you like to put some money on that?
Yes, of course. Well, as much as 4chan posts now are newsworthy, of course, we know Polymarket has moved to newsworthiness, partnering with CNN, CBS, others. It's official. But Polymarket,
they are they're the funnel.
As of when was this? As of 8:39 a.m. today, the chance of U.S. strikes in Iran by March 31st raised to 65% chance, which was up 25% chance. And an interesting thing, you look at the volume. Now,
I was looking at the volume. We're talking $289 million in volume, a third of $1 billion in volume. That is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and specifically about 11 million for the March 31st date. But yes, in total, the U.S. strikes Iran by is almost $300 million. Now, here's the thing. I feel perhaps that there is a number of people who have yet to fully integrate the Polymarket situation.
The Polymarket paradigm, let's call it that, because that's what
Polymarket paradigm, because it seems silly, and most of you won't need a review, but let me just lay it out. Polymarket is an opportunity for anyone in the world to, we will use the term make a bet. However, it is not a bet. It is a prediction market. It is a financial product, not a bet. But we'll say bet for all intents and purposes, to make a bet on basically anything happening. Now, it obviously is dystopian and concerning and a problem for anybody who might be susceptible to a gambling problem. It does offer very interesting opportunities for people who feel like they have a pretty good grasp on predicting what's going on in the world. Have not yet put those skills to the test yet, Guns, but and
some of ours are sort of long term too. So these prediction markets, there's usually a time limit. Like this one's March 31st.
Yeah, we don't need to describe. We don't need to justify why we don't bet on Polymarket, Guns. Thank you though. But it has been proven over and over and over that the odds that reveal themselves from the wisdom of the crowd making these bets are excruciatingly accurate in almost every opportunity, whether it's elections, whether it's wars, whether it's economics, whether it's various politics. I'll say the I don't even know what to call the broad thing, the prediction markets, not even just Polymarket, but the very concept of prediction markets have been proven so accurate that official mainstream news outlets have partnered with them. And this is like an official source of news. Okay. We've covered this in the past.
Mhm.
Now, there's one interesting thing that just came out with Polymarket specifically, but it is a theme with all the prediction markets. We noted this bet on US strikes Iran by, and then you get to pick your date, has almost $300 million in volume.
Volume is the amount of money that's being
the total
moved.
amount of money that has been made available by people making these bets, $300 million. An insane amount of money considering it's just people sitting in their underwear with their phone making bets on what's going on in the world.
We're doing it wrong.
It was just rolled out that Polymarket is adding a feature, and this is called sponsor market rewards. You can, long story short, you don't actually have to make a bet if you don't want. If you look at a bet such as will America strike Iran by, and say that liquidity was not 300 million. When a bettor looks at that number, 300 million, they go, oh my gosh, there's a lot of money up for grabs here. I'm going to get in here. Let's see if I can get a piece of this 300 million. It's a very attractive number when somebody is looking at a bet to make. You look at the volume, that'll give you a sense of how much you stand to win here. Right?
This is also a very baseline Web3 crypto thing. If you see a token, this is why Bitcoin is the biggest token. There's a lot of volume. There's a lot of liquidity. It's easy to come in and out of the token. If you buy a token where there's no volume, then you may have a problem selling it because nobody's moving those tokens around. So it's a very important part of decentralized finance.
Now, what Polymarket has included is sponsor market rewards, which is anybody, is a person, a company, a nation state, whoever wants to, can actually basically donate liquidity to a market, to a bet. Let's say if the liquidity is only $10,000, right, on a bet. Well, that's not very exciting to people. There's not like a whole ton of money to make. Doesn't look like there's a lot of people involved in making that bet. And so there isn't. Now, anybody, including human regular beings sitting in their underwear on a couch, can actually sponsor liquidity into a market like that. Now, this is not them making a bet. This is not them participating in the odds. This is them saying, there's not a lot of people making this bet. I am going to add liquidity voluntarily, meaning, $500 all the way up to whatever, $1 million. So that liquidity number is bigger. And so people see it and start making more bets. Now there's things like, there's a time limit on this, and there's kind of all these little do's and don'ts and things like that. But the long story short, Gons, if you and I are sitting here and we're looking at a bet and we go, not a lot of people are doing it. Let's add some liquidity to see if we can attract more people to make that bet. Then we can do that. Now, we don't get anything for this. I mean, it's just...
you might usually,
we want to draw people's attention to the bet is the primary idea. Now, you think, okay, that's a very interesting. They're very excited about making this available. And to a normal person like us, we go, what in the world? Why would we possibly want to do that? And I did some digging, and I talked to some AI, and I looked at some FAQs. And the long story short is the benefit, if you are a person giving liquidity to a bet like this, is that you really want the data that this bet will provide. For some reason, the odds that formulate are so important to you that you will basically pay money to attract more people, which will then have the idea is that whatever the odds come out of it will be more accurate.
Right, because you're getting more votes basically, or more people placing a bet. It's a better measurement of the sentiment of whatever you're trying to analyze out there.
The more
in the
people
narrative.
voting, the more accurate the the percentages that come
voting,
out.
but voting in this case is placing a bet. So it's putting money where your mouth is.
Right. And so it begs this question. Okay. I mean, they're very proud of making this available to everybody, right?
I think they do make.
Hold on, Guns. Don't let's not get into the minutia here.
Okay.
Where was I? So you keep interrupting the flow here. Let me get to the end of it, and then we can talk about it. Okay, so they're very proud of advertising. Hey, anybody can do this, all the way down to little old Joe, which is like very inclusive. It's very like, hey, we're making this available to the little guy. But it also includes things like corporations and governments. Anybody can come in and put as much liquidity as they want in it all. And the benefit is to get more accurate results. So, I spent some time going like, why in the world would anybody actually do this? And it flat out, comes down to they have something to gain from accurate data coming out of this. So like if you're a PR person, or if you're a social engineer, or if you're this or you're that, it's basically an opportunity for anybody to play social engineer with getting some sort of data. That's how precious the data of these betting markets is apparently people are able to put in tons and tons of money simply to attract other people to make the bets. Now, what you're referring to, Gons, before maybe you get too deep into it, is the liquidation farming. Liquidation farming is a similar but different thing where you are adding liquidity to the pool, but your plan is not to actually make money on the bets. You're making money on the difference between some limit orders you put in there.
Right. I think this providing liquidity in the Polymarket thing here, it's not like it doesn't tell you exactly how you make money, but traditionally when you provide liquidity to a pool like this, you're basically getting a little bit of the fees for every trade.
They have a program. They have a rewards program, which is not fees. It is, they have things like, if you do this, you become one of these people, then you get in a special group that can get like airdrops, or they get special
like earning points or something from within the platform.
Yeah,
right? There's sort of
there's an incentive structure, but it's not like making money in the way that you would expect.
Well, I only say that because just providing liquidity to something doesn't guarantee anything. Like there can be a bet out there, a Polymarket out there that has some topic, whatever it may be, and somebody could drop $100,000 into the liquidity pool, and then nobody cares, and so you're not going to necessarily get any data out of it if nobody places bets on it.
So let me also clarify one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The sponsor market rewards. This makes it even a little more complicated, which is why I didn't want to go into it, because I think we have a broader thing to talk about here.
Sure, yeah.
When you sponsor the market rewards, again, you are drawing other liquidity providers in, and they get entered into a pool to share on the reward of your sponsored, sort of your sponsorship. It's a complicated thing, but the long and short of it is, this is now open to anybody. Yeah. Which opens up an interesting thing, because the conversation with Polymarket, with prediction markets, has always been the problem of insider trading or insider betting. Someone in the White House knows something's going to happen, so they place $1 million bet because they know they're going to attack Iran. We see this over and over and over in basically every industry of the prediction market system, right? And that's a direct issue, because that's someone basically more or less stealing money from other people who are betting on it. This insider trading, it's illegal and frowned upon, but very difficult to sort of manage on these prediction sites. The other part of it is now that we have open is this broad open ability to encourage or socially engineer people's behavior to create more data. Now you might think, this whole prediction market thing is kind of interesting, because so many of them are so many of the bets are kind of like random, right? They're not, I mean, there's some important ones, some political ones, but there's also like really random ones. I mean, you had the "Is Jesus coming back" one, you have the "Are aliens going to be announced" ones, things like this. But this ability for anybody to attract anybody else to a certain prediction market, I mean, is just rife for not only social engineering, but if Donald Trump Jr. is making a bet on an event, but there's no liquidity and nobody's betting on it, he could just, in theory, I'm not saying he's done this, he can put in some liquidity, draw in a million people to start making bets on that, and then he can make his bet based on what he's known as what he knows is going to happen. And it's this interesting philosophical thing in our world today, which is we're all creating data all the time, and almost never are we getting paid for it. And the prediction markets are kind of this weird way in which regular people are given an opportunity to monetize them being the data, and them being the data is making these bets, which creates these odds that are very important and very accurate, and so accurate, in fact, that the news uses it as news. Not just the fact that the bet exists is the news, it's the accuracy of that data. So it is in this weird sort of dystopian. You had laid out the theory maybe last year or the year before, is like, yeah, when the robots take over and there's no more jobs, and we all have to sit at home and get our universal basic income, the only way that people even have to make any sort of difference in their financial situation will be in these betting markets. Gambling will be the only way, in the most dystopian version, for anybody to change their financial situation, which is horrible and sad. On the other hand, the farmers of our brains, the elites, already consider each and every one of us individually pretty much no more valuable than the data that we create, right?
Yeah, we're just like little data machines to feed their future overlord AI to help them ascend to the next plane of existence or whatever.
Exactly. So these weird, prediction markets, while ethically dubious, and the proximity to gambling and all these things are a conversation to have. It's also very interesting in that they've created a way for people to actually potentially value their own opinion on something in a way that they couldn't really do before, that they were doing for free, basically.
Put your money where your mouth is becomes a literal thing with these prediction markets. And it is interesting that there's the ethical tension here, if you really kind of break down what this is all about, because traditional markets, insider trading has been an issue, right? These politicians, they get insider knowledge, they get to place their bets. And a lot of times those bets are private. People don't find out that they bought whatever, 1 million shares of some company that was going to explode in value a few weeks later, until after the fact. Well, with this, the ethical tension, because these things are very public and somewhat transparent. I mean, there's Polymarket is sort of the centralized entity here, but they are leveraging decentralized technology. You can sort of keep track of some of the things that are happening on chain there. And the question becomes, okay, so an insider puts a bet. Okay, let's say someone knowledgeable or someone anonymous, but it is knowledgeable in some way, places a bet on something, and it's a very informed bet. Well, the general public can also, it's like a double layer bet. They can place the actual bet with them or with that individual or against that individual. And it's almost its own bet on whether you trust that individual and their bet on whatever's going to, result in whatever the situation is with the, any given Polymarket. So it is providing this opportunity for the public to take advantage of potential insiders, but only if you trust those insiders. You can counter trade against that trust as well. And it just makes it very.
It's a maze. It's a labyrinth.
It's a maze, a labyrinth of leveraging degeneracy across all levels. But I think this is the beginning of Ready Player One type of world. Each one of these bets are going to eventually become little metaverses. We're going to be hopping in there and, put your money where your mouth is, start digging that mine right there, literally, physically. So we're going to be in our pure white walled prison cells with VR goggles on, pretending like we're shoveling out some gold from the ground or something. But I think this is where things are headed. And
they're already there is kind of the point. And, you add that with the Lazarus Project, we don't even know if any of this is actually happening. I mean, look at all the rumors we're getting about the military movements to Iran. We only really know about this because it's getting posted online and it's on the mainstream media and whatever. Who knows? I mean, the epistemology is really the issue.
Right.
And if that's the case, we don't know how much of the narrative as it's being laid out to us is actually informed by the data from the betting markets. They would be the perfect way. You wonder, and now just to be a little trippy for a second, because, in the Matrix, the robots make the Matrix, make the illusion for the people to live in. And the question then becomes, I mean, even in the mythology of the Matrix, the first time the robots made the Matrix, they made it perfect and it was all happy and everything was wonderful. And it drove all the humans insane because, whatever, the humans don't want things to be perfect. And so they had to make life hard. And so they made the simulation hard. And that's what everybody lives in here. If there was an AI that was in charge of orchestrating all the data on the internet to give us some illusion of what's going on in the world, it could try random things, or it could take this incredibly valuable data that people pay their money to actually create and use that to sort of form the narrative as it goes. I mean, it's we're there, baby. It's it. This is it. It's a lot of fun.
We get to write the story with the elite. That's what's going on. And we get to maybe lose all our money too, which they're already taxing anyway, and they're taking away anyway. So, might as well.
Once we have
put it all on
Elon's universal high basic income, we'll all have all the money in the world to bet.
Yay.
All right. Let's look at a couple interesting things with Epstein real quick.
Okay. Epstein. How is it? We can't not do Epstein. We know I liked it before Epstein.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Now it's like in every single topic, which happen.
It's the reason why we're going to war with Iran, apparently. So it's worth taking a look at. There was one interesting thing that popped up. Of course, there's millions and millions of documents that have been released, millions of documents that haven't been released. And the interesting thing is the documents, they are serialized, right? I mean, they are put in order from start to finish, from 1 million to whatever, 6 million, whatever it is. But analysts have discovered something very interesting, and that there is a gap in the serial numbers of documents. About 25,000 missing documents. And interestingly enough, they range suspiciously close to the time before and the time after September 11th, 2001. So there is a gap of documents from around 9/11 that allegedly, I mean, what people suspect is that the DOJ just hasn't released them yet. That, you know, they say they still have 3 million documents. They say they're not going to release them. The question has always been, how did they know which ones to release, which ones not to release? There was a breakdown on this website, Factually, which is a bit of a fact-checking kind of site. It mentions in the list here the specific claim about a 9/11 period, what reporting supports it. Oops, get out of here, pop-up. None of the supplied sources, meaning from the DOJ, explicitly document that the DOJ carved out or withheld thousands of files specifically tied to the period around the September 11th, 2001 attacks. The available coverage details the scale of withheld material, the categories for redactions, and the DOJ's internal review process, but it does not identify a temporal cluster centered on 9/11 as a distinct basis for mass withholding. Therefore, the targeted period allegation cannot be confirmed from the material provided. So because the DOJ did not list temporal, I guess, what is the word I'm looking for? Specifically temporal held back documents, I guess.
Right. Okay.
You know, so they're basically just fact checking it, saying, no, the DOJ said they didn't do this. So we don't know why this particular list of documents is missing, but the DOJ says they don't know. So we don't know why, but there's an interesting, set of documents around 9/11 that were not included in this last tranche of documents. Now, could they come out later? Perhaps. Did they get put into a burn bag at the FBI and get disappeared? Perhaps. It's always possible.
So all this factually is saying is that they didn't specifically withhold anything because of the September 11th attacks.
The DOJ did not specifically say that they held back 9/11 documents.
Okay, so that's like
it's not corroborated.
Okay, so it's like the data shows this, but the narrative is what you're saying. The data shows the gap, but the narrative is that they did not explicitly say that they redacted or did not publish certain emails or whatever during
they said that was not on their list of reasons of not putting out certain
Okay, that's the biggest runaround ever.
They had some other reason for leaving out 9/11 files. Now, on the topic of 9/11, there's a cute little clip that came out involving Howard Lutnik. Howard Lutnik is what is he? The Treasury? Oh, the Commerce Secretary. He's the guy who did most of the very enthusiastic advertising for the possibility that Trump can cut income taxes, get rid of income taxes. He says all sorts of these very exciting economic things. And it is well known, interestingly enough, that Epstein and Howard Lutnik were in business together. They were both signers on a business back around 2008, which is very suspicious. It's well known that Lutnik purchased Epstein's mansion from him in 1998. So there's already weird connections between Lutnik and Epstein. I mean, weird's not even the right word.
An explicit partnership.
Right.
Yeah.
And, Lutnik and the topic of 9/11 came up recently in a talk in the Oval Office.
Yes. Here we go.
He's really been great. And Howard has built one of the great companies, Cantor Fitzgerald. It was wiped out, completely wiped out, other than a few people left in Europe. And he rebuilt the company into a bigger, better company. Cantor Fitzgerald is one of the top companies on Wall Street, stocks, bonds, trading. And he took that. I mean, he literally watched the plane go into the building, into the World Trade Center. Amazing story. That alone is an amazing story. He was delayed because his wife insisted that he finally, after years, take his child to school. So he took his child to school that one day, because normally he would have been in the building at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's that business, right? So you owe your wife a lot and your child a lot, right? But his wife insisted that he take his child to school. For 5 years, he didn't do it. He was horrible.
Trump just keeps going on and on about this, which
Lays it on. It's so good.
makes me think that he kind of knows the deal and he has to play politician here. He can't just come out and say
I
it.
mean, he does this sort of thing, he does it with some of his donors, in regards to Israel and stuff like, oh, what's anyways, I won't go into it, but keep going. There's still more.
Child to school. For 5 years, he didn't do it. He was horrible. What kind of a father was he? Okay, I'll do it. And he was therefore driving down at 8:43, whatever the time was, down the West Side Highway, and he saw the plane go into the side of the building. He said, wow. And he occupied the top 3 floors of the World Trade Center, of the one building of the World Trade Center. And you know what happened there? He lost 100% of the people in that, his whole company was there. And he rebuilt his company step by step over years and became bigger and stronger. And he gave a tremendous amount of the profit to the families of the people that died, which he didn't have to do. And now he's working with us. He did an incredible job. I mean, anybody in that world, they know Howard Lutnik very well.
Well, it's paying off, not even paying off, but thanking the families for their sacrifice, literally, to bring Lutnik to a higher place of power. I mean, I don't know what kind of deal that is, but you sign on the dotted line with your blood with the devil or something, and hey, everybody in your company is going to go away, but you will come back stronger than ever, and you'll be immune to the Epstein stuff. I mean, is this guy going down, or is he just going to keep rolling?
Trump spends 1 minute and 45 seconds just going on and on and on about the details of how this guy, the one thing his entire life, he never drove the kid. He lost everything. 100% of the people in his company died, which is kind of weird. Now, remember, this was just 3 years after he purchased Epstein's mansion. But it wasn't just the mansion purchase. Now, keep in mind, Lutnik was in this similar business as Epstein. Remember, Epstein was a sort of a banker. He was a finance guy who worked at Bear Stearns, the reason for the 2008 financial crisis. Well, the CBS reported a little bit on this. It says Lutnik and Epstein were in business together. Epstein files show. So this came out of the Epstein files. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnik has said that he had limited interactions with Jeffrey Epstein, but documents show they were in business together as recently as 2014. Lutnik and Epstein each signed on behalf of limited liability companies that agreed on December 28, 2012 to acquire stakes in a now shuttered advertising company called Adfin.
Advertising technology company called
Adfin. Documents released among the so-called Epstein file.
So-called.
It goes back, and it goes through a number of these sort of business ventures and the contact between the two that were available in this particular set of Epstein files. I think, oh no, did I lose that other one? I went through a whole other documentation of their business together. They had a lot of business right around 2008, the 2008 crisis. So, it's just interesting. You had them trading real estate before 9/11. You have them going into business several times after 9/11. The 9/11, the Epstein documents that should have been around the time of 9/11 are mysteriously missing. And his buddy Lutnik just happened, for the first time in his entire life, drive his kid to school on the morning of 9/11. It's just a little weird, wouldn't you say?
A little.
Just a little.
Seems like there's quite a bit of a paper trail here, but nothing specific, I suppose, incriminates him. But is kind of like the writing's on the wall. But this is kind of that tough with Lutnik in particular. Is he the type of individual that Julian Assange was referencing when he said that, you know, when the whole thing gets exposed, 80% of the federal government will fall. I think there's a quote there, something like that. I mean, if you pull this guy out of the whole system, the swamp, if you will,
yeah, well, you
what
know,
kind of effect will it have on?
and it's just we'll never know. But it's another example. At least if all of this is true, and if all of these pieces have anything to do with one another, at the very least, again, the sort of narrative matrix being crafted that comes from directly from the Epstein files. You know, the Epstein files, of course, are not just the demonic things going on the island. People are now coming to realize that it extends to transhumanism, which we'll get into that in a second, but it also extends to pretty much every major financial crisis in the last, 25, 26, 27 years have some sort of connection to where Epstein was at any point in time. So, who knows why the Justice Department let out some documents and didn't let out others. But again, if we're not making the assumption, and this is where the theater of it really gets people, and I think people get it wrong because they assume that the theater of it is really real. Everything from whatever Trump saying it's a hoax to the focus on this topic and not that topic. The idea that there isn't some sort of coordinated, smart person that is, and by smart person, I don't mean individual person, but to think that there's not some sort of plan that we're not able to see the whole thing is just a very silly thing. And especially when it comes to Pam Bondi just sort of really embarrassing herself, the DOJ embarrassing themselves, Trump flopping from campaigning on the Epstein files to calling them a hoax. These totally, I don't know, topsy-turvy things that if somebody, a lot of people have short memories, so they're just kind of a fish living in whatever happening in the fishbowl at the moment. But if you can remember the way that things flip-flop back and forth, it would be silly to assume that it's all sort of accidental and simply embarrassing and that there's not something else going on.
Yeah, there's a clip here. I don't know if you saw this, Basil. It's an old clip of Lutnik from about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just a 20-second thing here. Let me see if the audio's up.
This is him on Fox News, appearing
on Fox News. Yeah.
And so that added $35 million to that group upstairs. But the sad thing is, so $35 million sounds like so much money. But if you divide it by 700 people, it's only $50,000. It's not enough to. So that's why we need to work on our foundation.
Okay, so this is him pleading for a foundation to raise more money for the victims,
for the families affected, or something.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Speaking of all of this, there's been a new development in the whole Epstein thing. And it's something, again, it's interesting as old timers, 2015, 2016, hearing, the details of the Epstein thing back when it was a crazy conspiracy theory. There's been a theme of one particular aspect of the Epstein stuff often being left out. And it seems just today, the mainstream, as we'll see in a couple different instances, the mainstream finally catching up, or at least the timing is now right for the mainstream public to learn about these things. This one is on Yahoo News. It's mirrored from Time. This was Time magazine. The headline is, "New investigation launched into Epstein's 7,600-acre Zorro ranch. Here's what we know." Now, this is Time magazine talking about Zorro Ranch. Zorro Ranch is one of the properties of financier Jeffrey Epstein, is seen in an area. Oh, there. Sorry, that's the description of that photo. New Mexico lawmakers have launched a new investigation into allegations of trafficking and sexual abuse at the ranch outside Santa Fe, once owned by convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The 7,600-acre property, which was owned by Epstein from 1993 until his death in a New York jail, while waiting a trial on sex trafficking charges in 2019. And the property was mentioned numerous times in the so-called Epstein files.
So-called. They love the so-called.
Released by the Department of Justice over the last few months. A bipartisan committee of 4 lawmakers known as a Truth Committee. Well, see, that's great. Nobody trusts truth committees anymore. I mean, there's the 9/11 Truth Committee. There was, I think, anyways, bipartisan committee of 4 lawmakers known as a Truth Committee will seek testimony from survivors of alleged sexual abuse at the ranch as part of the $2.5 million investigation authorized by legislation passed unanimously by lawmakers on Monday. Although law enforcement has probed several of Epstein's other properties, including his island in the Caribbean, his apartment in Manhattan, and his Palm Beach estate, his New Mexico property has received much less attention. Quote, the crimes that were reported to federal and state authorities were never fully investigated, State Representatives Melanie Stansbury, a Democrat, said in a video posted after the vote. The New Mexico State House, quote, is concerned that the failure to investigate the alleged criminal activity at Zorro Ranch and the risk of potential consequences of that activity continue to affect the safety and welfare of the state, and that continued legislative inaction threatens public confidence in state government. The bill said. It was co-sponsored by 2 Democrats, Andrea Romero, and represents Santa Fe, and Representative Maria Anaya, and 2 Republicans, Rep. Andrea Reeb and Rep. Bill Hall. A previous effort to investigate the ranch in 2019 by former New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas was halted at the request of federal prosecutors in 2019 to avoid a parallel investigation, he told Reuters in a statement. A December 2019 email released in the Epstein files from federal authorities to the executors of Epstein's estate said that federal agents had not searched the New Mexico property. So keep that in mind. The property has not been searched.
Okay.
In a separate email in September 2019, Manhattan federal prosecutors said that they spoke with the New Mexico Attorney General's office, who they said had agreed to cease any investigation into sex trafficking and share whatever they had gathered regarding sex trafficking activity with our office. Here's what you need to know about the investigation and Zorro Ranch. So I don't know if we need to get deep into what they write here about the whole Zorro Ranch thing. It's been long known that this is where his sort of transhumanist breeding program was taking place. A lot of the documents coming out in the files, again, if not prove or at least support these long-held theories and eyewitness testimonies of what's been going on there. Was there anything in there specifically you wanted to go into, Guns?
I don't think so. I mean, we know that this is where he like keep women, and he was gonna impregnate them and start the race of superhumans and all that stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And
we don't have to go over that.
People, I mean, as it's been described in previous years, it was like almost like a barn where he kept women that he was trying to make an Ubermensch, sort of thing with. Crazy. And again, was one of the less, I guess, talked about things. Less publicized, less talk about, even in the sort of, conspiracy channels. The Zorro Ranch thing was fairly it does say here Zorro Ranch was also the site where, according to the New York Times, Epstein hoped to seed the human race with his DNA using genetic engineering. And that's, in the files. It's just
email after email,
email,
message
email
after message,
email
people
about,
that would assist in this endeavor.
yeah, I mean, the whole thing's there. It's pretty crazy. Now,
That's crazy. Yeah.
Let's see here. Here's the big question. Remember,
the owner of the owner of Zorro Ranch is
who owns the ranch now? And this is, yeah. Why don't we play this clip here? This is a clip of Matt Gaetz with Donald Huffines. Let me just say this: in 2023, Donald Huffines, a Texas businessman and former GOP state senator, now running for comptroller, bought the Zorro Ranch.
Yes. And I'm seeing now that he had plans to renovate and rename it.
Well, he explains it in this.
He does. I'm saying he had a plans to do all this right as he bought it in 2023. Well, listen to what he says here with the Matt Gaetz interaction.
Now you have plans to take something evil and bring it into goodness, bring it into light and positivity. Tell us about that plan.
Well, of course, that is the main reason I bought the property. This was obviously a dark place, and we wanted to put light in a dark place. It always shines the brightest when you do that. My faith is so strong in Jesus, and it really is. And I'm going to make this, the plan all along is to make this property into a Christian retreat. As a matter of fact, it's under construction today. And that's our goal. That's why we named it San Rafael. We named it Saint Raphael, as you probably know, an archangel, and his what he does and helps people with is healing and being the healer, and also blessing those that are traveling. And we think that's really germane to this property.
Okay. So he says that it is currently under construction. They're showing some footage of current construction as well. Does it take 3 years to build a camp?
Well, that's the question. We don't know when it was under construction. He recently said it was currently under construction. We heard in the Time thing, the Time magazine article, that according to all available documents, it had never been searched.
As of 2019.
I guess that was a 2019 email.
I think that's what it said in the...
let's see here. Let me see if I can pull this up.
I think I highlighted it right here. A December 2019 email released in the Epstein files from federal authorities to the executors of Epstein's estate said the federal agents had, quote, not searched the New Mexico property.
So here's a quote down in the Who Owns the Ranch Now. We talked in 2023, Donald Huffines. He said in a social media post Monday that he would cooperate with any investigation. Quote, "We have always maintained an open line of communication with local authorities. No law enforcement agency has ever approached me to request access, and I have always said unequivocally that any such request would be met with immediate access and full cooperation." So at least since he purchased it in 2023, nobody has requested access.
He's claiming no one has. Yeah.
Well, that's what he's right. I don't know. That's just what he says. There's so far no data that says anybody's ever taken a look at the property. In fact, all the data we have says that they said, don't look at the property. Don't go look at it. Okay. We don't want parallel investigations. If somebody has any evidence of this property ever getting searched, please let me know, because I have not seen it. And it might be it's a little weird that nobody's said that they've ever looked at it, and this guy says it is currently under construction. Currently under construction to become a Christian camp, which, okay, God bless you, but what construction? What exactly do you need to construct? I don't get it. It was made to house a bunch of people to live there permanently and create a genetic super race. What could you possibly be doing in construction? I don't know. That's just what he says. There is no evidence, at least that I've seen, in fact, all the evidence says the opposite, that anybody has ever taken a look at Zorro Ranch. up until Monday, this Monday, they decided that they are going to go look at it after it's already under construction.
Under construction, yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. It's just very strange.
Very bizarre. And I had to dig into this whole naming it Archangel Raphael, because I thought to myself, I don't know, I don't remember Raphael in the Bible. And sure enough, it comes from the Catholic Bible, the Book of Tobit, which is not part of the 66 book canon, but the Catholics have it. And this is a really interesting character. Raphael appears in human disguise as a traveling companion named Azarias or Azariah to young Tobias. And he guides Tobias on a journey and helps him catch a fish whose organs are used for healing. And some people didn't like the Protestants didn't like that. They thought it was like wizardry and magic or something like that, to use different body parts as a sort of a healing thing. And then Raphael binds the demon Asmodeus, who was tormenting Sarah, who's Tobias's future wife. And he ultimately heals Tobit's blindness and delivers Sarah. And at the end, he reveals his true identity. And he says, "I am Raphael, one of the 7 angels who stands ready and enter before the glory of the Lord." That's according to Tobit 12:15. And so I didn't know much about Raphael, but okay, it's this angel that pretends to be a human and helps them heal. And that's what the Epstein transhumanist ranch is being transformed into, to invite Christians to come hang out at.
Guns, yeah, very, very strange. I will say in the Time article, it says, what will the investigation look like? The commission has said it will investigate allegations of criminal activity and public corruption through survivor testimony, according to the resolution. And I'm not going to read the whole thing here for you, but basically they say we're just going to interview people. We're going to have testimony.
So they're not even going in. The investigation is opening, so they're going to talk to some people about what might have happened there.
They make no claim that they're going to go look at the property, which I guess maybe doesn't matter anyways, because it's under construction. If anything was going to happen, it was already going to happen. So very strange. Even in this, perhaps, I mean, I like to think that this investigation and the people trying to make it happen and all this, have all the
It's
right
all in the up
things
and
at
up.
heart. I want it to be all in the up and up, but very odd that nobody's looked at it. Nobody's requesting to look at it, even with this new big investigation that they all voted on. They're not even planning on looking at it. At least they're not saying so. I had a little bit of a technical issue, Gons. We got some messages that the Rumble is not live. And it's just dead air. And I'm over here, jumped on the Rumble, and it looks like it never got activated.
Oh, look at that. Okay, should be on now.
Okay, there we go.
Well, Pete, it's funny. Pete, the Rumble's been dying anyway, just to be honest with everybody. I mean, less and less people watching us on Rumble over there, but that should be good now. I don't know what happened.
People everywhere watching us, so
that's true. You're right. Nobody's watching us anymore.
We gotta be.
If you're here, you are you're very special. We're very grateful that you're
grateful to the Rumble
for listening to us. Yep.
Trying to mess it up.
So because it's such an exclusive, intelligent group that is still with us, we do want to tell you that Reuters.com is making it official now. You can send it to your normie friends and relatives. The headline anyway, Reuters.com, allegations in Epstein files may amount to crimes against humanity, UN expert says. So, it's when Uncle Joe's talking about it, it's just wild. It's just Uncle Joe being Uncle Joe. But if a UN expert says it, now it's official, everybody. It's official. Not just UN experts, but Reuters reporting on these potential crimes against humanity. Let's see what they say.
I would love to go into the archive and see if we could find the old Reuters articles about, Epstein conspiracy theory. He is just a disgraced financier. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah. It says here, millions of files related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein suggest the existence of a, quote, global criminal enterprise that carried out acts meeting the legal threshold of crimes against humanity, according to a panel of independent experts appointed by the United Nations Human Rights Council. I find this interesting, Basil. We know that these post-World War II institutions, like the United Nations, are losing influence and power over the masses, an authority, really. That's what they're losing. And, they got their own little agenda to use the Epstein files as leverage to maybe regain some trust as an ethical, upstanding institution by coming out and saying that they have, carried out acts meeting the legal threshold of crimes against humanity.
Yeah, I mean that's. I love it.
The op is deep, man. The op is deep.
Let's see. Where did you? Okay,
I just read the first paragraph.
Oh, first paragraph. Yeah, no, this is hilarious. Because we start out with the headline. Oh my gosh, Reuters is
doing it.
There's an elite group of global leaders who are doing these crimes against humanity. What is this, Alex Jones?
Is this InfoWars? What's going on, Reuters?
Right, it's like a full-on InfoWars. And yeah, you get into it. It talks about the millions of files, and it meets the threshold of crimes against humanity. Oh my gosh. United Nations, according to a panel of independent experts appointed by the United Nations Human Rights Council. Oh my gosh, it's like saying the monkeys are in charge of the zoo here. The global elites at the United Nations Human Rights Council are saying that Epstein shows elite global crimes against humanity, but then you gotta love it. They instantly kind of lose steam, right? Because we know what's in the Epstein files. Everybody knows it. Where it's clear now. And the Reuters says this. The experts at the UN's Rights Council, the experts said crimes outlined in the documents released by the U.S. Justice Department were committed against a backdrop.
Okay.
Of supremacist beliefs, racism.
Oh no.
Corruption.
Yeah.
And our favorite, extreme misogyny.
I get it. They're just as bad as Trump.
Exactly.
Epstein is just as bad as Trump, guys.
Everybody right now in your own head, make the long list of demonic evil crimes that we now know were true, from the worst to the very worst, just the amazing list of unspeakable sins we know now from the Epstein files. And the UN says, well, it's amongst the backdrop of supremacist beliefs and racism and corruption and, goodness me, extreme misogyny. What, you can't just say
sorry we laugh,
babies?
But it's just, I know they can't say that. That is
you can't say eating babies is a human rights crime. You can't say,
no, they're just supremacists. But what kind of supremacist beliefs? Like what supremacy?
And
what
that's
are you talking about, Reuters?
They don't even need to say. They don't even need to say white supremacist. They can just put supremacist belief.
People assume it's white supremacy.
Everybody fills it in, right? Supremacist belief. Ooh, Epstein, he was so racist. The racism of Epstein is a human crime. Oh, the extreme misogyny of it. Come on. He ate the babies, man. Just say it. The crimes, they said, showed a commodification and dehumanization of women and girls.
They said the crimes. They said the UN Council of Truth.
So grave, this is a quote, so grave is the scale, nature, systematic character, and transnational reach of these atrocities against women and girls that a number of them may reasonably meet the legal threshold of crimes against humanity, the experts say. Look, if Epstein's crimes don't reach the threshold of crimes against humanity, I don't think there are such things as crimes against humanity.
I told you, crime is legal, Basil. We've been saying it for a couple of years now. Crime is legal, and but this really brings to light the worst of the worst paper trail of human behavior, and they're like, it meets the threshold. Everybody, we might do something or not.
It's
We'll see. He's dead. Who cares?
misogyny. Like Trump, the experts said the allegations contained in the files require an independent, thorough, and impartial investigation, and said inquiries should also be launched into how it was possible for such crimes to be committed for so long. Maybe because
I don't know.
institutions like the United Nations Human Rights Council let it go on for so long, they would turn their eye and their ear away from all the obvious signs and witnesses saying it was going on. And only here we are, what, a month after the entire world knows about it, you're just now saying it's so bad. The U.S. Justice Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. What comment are you trying to get from the U.S. DOJ? You're talking about the United Nations Human Rights Council. A law approved by Congress with broad bipartisan support in November requires all Epstein-related files to be made public. The UN experts raised concerns about, quote, serious compliance failures and botched redactions that expose sensitive victim information. More than 1,200 victims were identified in the documents that have been released so far. So no. It's not the evil, demonic behavior of the entire world's elites that were documented in the emails. It's that the DOJ did a bad job at putting black boxes over people's names. That's the human rights crime. And I seriously think they're going to take it this direction. The United Nations,
they're going to call out so it's going to be about how the U.S. is now responsible for doxing all the victims, and what a horrible job. But you're putting him in danger
because
okay.
Because Trump and his administration have supremacist beliefs, racism, corruption, and extreme misogyny. They're calling the United Nations Human Rights Council. I believe they're going to try to make this about the DOJ's handling of the documents that, took away the rights of the women and the witnesses and the victims and things like this. They haven't even mentioned a single reference to the crimes that are revealed. They're specifically focusing on the release of the documents and how they were so bad. Quote,
it's like they're mad that
they are. It's almost like they and everybody who makes up the United Nations is pretty angry that the documents got released at all. And so they're going to go after those who released the documents. Quote, the reluctance to fully disclose information or broaden investigations has left many survivors feeling re-traumatized and subjected to what they describe as institutional gaslighting, the experts said. Notice how they didn't say, hey, this bad stuff happened and we got to do stuff about it. It's the Trump's DOJ that did such a bad job that created more pain. The Justice Department's release of the documents has revealed Epstein's ties to many prominent people in politics, finance, academia, and business, both before and after he pleaded guilty in 2008 to prostitution charges. They're calling his charges in 2008 prostitution charges, including soliciting an underage girl. This is absolutely ludicrous. Never in the history of humanity have we seen a less powerful, the softest, the weakest hand, not only from the quotes coming out of the United Nations Human Rights Council, but even Reuters's reporting of this. Not a single mention of the actual crimes in the documents. Not a single mention of any of Epstein's connections to the prominent people in politics, finance, academia, and business.
Probably because they're all in the halls of the UN and Reuters.
They're all tied
in. They've complicit in protecting this operation for the whole time.
Exactly.
So for the fact that they're even reporting it, it's almost like if they want to save face, if they want to regain a little trust from the public, they better talk about it. But hopefully nobody reads the article, because the sentiment from this headline across X was like, oh, it's official now. Reuters is talking about it. Oh, it's in. conspiracy theorists were right and all this kind of stuff, but really it's a pretty impotent
Exactly.
attempt to really.
It's the United Nations Human Rights Council going after the DOJ for letting the documents out wrong instead of even naming a single one of Epstein's crimes, a single one of his co-conspirators, a single one of his victims, anything. It is absolutely delusional that, I mean, it's funny too, because of course the United Nations, this is all happening immediately after basically Trump claims, and who knows, it might be true, basically made the United Nations useless with the Board of Peace. You know, the United Nations is like on its way out. And if anybody was under the impression that, oh no, we need the United Nations, they protect people. Look, they have the United Nations Human Rights Council. What will we do without protecting, you know, people against crimes against humanity? This article, to someone who actually reads it, not just reads the headline, this is the United Nations setting up to really go to war, I think, with if not just the Board of Peace, but just the entire idea that you know, we might not need the United Nations, the whole global order, the discrediting of the entire, you know, world order, institutional, liberal, you know, rules-based order out the window. It's really just infuriating, honestly.
You know, I'm seeing some posts here. I don't know how accurate they are, but they are outlining some of the fallout going on here with the the Epstein effect, if you will. And this person posted Leslie Wexner, the billionaire founder of Victoria's Secret, was subpoenaed. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was today.
Yeah. He will be deposed by the House Oversight Committee. He gave Epstein power of attorney over his entire $5 billion fortune. He built Epstein's $77 million Manhattan mansion. For decades, nobody touched him. Now he's being dragged in under oath. And this actually, I don't know if they're still listening, but this is back in, I want to say 2015 or 16. Some local church people I was hanging out with that were very like-minded. One of the guys, his wife, was digging into the transhumanist topic after we had talked about it. And she had dug up this whole trove of stuff on Leslie Wexner and his ties to Epstein and human trafficking and the whole transhumanist side of things. So this guy is definitely a creeper. So
yeah.
keep that in mind.
No, he's maybe the head creeper.
Yeah, head creeper. Yeah,
like number 2 from Epstein.
There's Thomas Pritzker, executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels, stepped down. Pritzker family worth $33 billion, one of the most powerful dynasties in America, gone in one day. Casey Wasserman, chairman of the 2028 LA Olympics, the mayor of Los Angeles, publicly demanded his public resignation. The man chosen to represent America on the world stage is an Epstein associate, and then UK police now investigating private flight records of Stansted Airport after the files revealed Epstein flew in and out of Britain dozens of times. Former PM Gordon Brown flagged it. Scotland Yard is moving. Let's see, a few other things. Photographs. I guess those are the big ones. They're saying 20 resignations, countries investigating 8, criminal raids 4, subpoenas issued 12, UN declaration, crimes against humanity. And yeah, they're making it a political post by saying Obama and Biden had 12 years to do something about it, and they've done 0 investigations, 0 So, but you know, it's interesting to see the positioning. Like we said, this is like the greatest crowbar ever on whatever side you're on, to leverage this either to gain back some kind of trust if you're an institution that lost a little bit of trust in the last few years, or to position yourself as the solution of some kind. You know, we're moving forward, we're going to expose the corruption, and we're going to build something better. And you know, I feel that we do have, just you and I, Basil, as just independent folks here, and everybody listening out there, there's a little bit of a responsibility upon each of us to do our part, right? But I think most listeners understand. I think we're preaching to the choir when we talk about things like that. But
right.
But yeah, the effects are palpable, and we have the Jerusalem Post here, just to move on a little bit. This is still Epstein related. But the Jerusalem Post had a headline: former Norway PM charged with gross corruption over Epstein ties. That's former Norwegian Prime Minister Thorbjorn Jagland has been charged with gross corruption following an investigation into his alleged ties with Jeffrey Epstein, according to the New York Times.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've been watching the weird reality of basically nobody going down in America. Now, little by little, we have people stepping down from their jobs here in America, but no real, movement. But over in Europe, the list is growing of leaders and politicians and such who are really in the hot seat. And, Norway is an interesting one because, when it comes to, the Nobel Prize institution, the UN. Norway very much, is at least a sort of strong cultural support beam for the sort of European globalist order here. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Thorbjorn Jagland, has been charged with gross corruption due to his connection with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, according to a report by the New York Times. Last week, Economic Times investigators launched an inquiry into relationships between Epstein and several individuals, including Jagland. The charges against Jagland were filed the day after the Council of Europe decided to waive his diplomatic immunity, which had been granted due to his previous leadership role in the organization. The New York Times also reported that Norwegian police have searched several of Jagland's properties, and his lawyer publicly stated that Jagland is cooperating with authorities. Files released by the U.S. Justice Department reportedly indicate substantial communications between Jagland and Epstein, including messages discussing meetings and stays at Epstein's properties. Investigators are reportedly examining whether Jagland received any gifts, travel benefits, or loans from Epstein that were linked to his official positions. So it's funny because even then, it's really they're looking for financial crimes.
Yeah.
Which was the case with that fella in the UK, Peter Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
His communications with Epstein and his crimes are, pretty much purely related to collapsing the economy in 2008.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because we started really emphasizing the economy as the lifeblood of this entire beast system, harlotry, whatever you want to call it, however you want to label it. And it's no surprise that as these documents come out, the real power moves are being marked with financial incentives or payouts or whatever they may be.
Right.
And so it's just proof that it's just there's nothing new under the sun here. But sticking with Norway, we saw another interesting story from the Norwegians. It says here from what was this? Washington Post. CIA, Pentagon investigated secret Havana syndrome device in Norway. In 2024, a Norwegian researcher skeptical that pulsed energy weapons could do damage to human brains built a device and tested it on himself. It didn't go well.
Oopsies.
Working in strict secrecy, a government scientist in Norway built a machine capable of emitting powerful pulses of microwave energy, and in an effort to prove such devices are harmless to humans in 2024, tested it on himself. He suffered neurological symptoms similar to those of Havana syndrome, the unexplained malady that has struck hundreds of U.S. spies and diplomats around the world. The bizarre story described by 4 people familiar with the events is the latest wrinkle in the decade-long quest to find the causes of Havana syndrome, whose sufferers experience long-lasting effects, including cognitive challenges, dizziness, and nausea. The U.S. government calls the events anomalous health incidents, AHIs. The secret test in Norway has not been previously reported. The Norwegian government told the CIA about the results, two of the people said, prompting at least 2 visits in 2024 to Norway by Pentagon and White House officials. Those aware of the test say it does not prove AHIs are the work of a foreign adversary wielding a secret weapon similar to the prototype tested in Norway. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me read that again.
Doesn't prove anything, okay? Doesn't prove anything.
Those aware of the test say it does not prove AHIs are the work of a foreign adversary wielding a secret weapon similar to the prototype tested in Norway. Okay.
Just because we have a secret weapon that causes the exact effects doesn't mean that other people that have the same anomalous, it's right there in the name, AHI, anomalous health incidents.
Yeah. But look at this. It says here, one of them noted that the effects suffered by the Norwegian researcher, whose identity was not disclosed by the people familiar, were not the same as the classic AHI case. All spoke on the condition of anonymity because of the subject sensitivity. Okay, so what's different about it? What do you mean they're not the same? What do you mean? The guy made it by himself. He's not making military grade. He made it in his backyard or his basement or something.
No, he was bleeding out of his nose, and the other AHIs were bleeding out of their ears.
Okay.
Two totally different symptoms.
The red wire to the wrong spot.
Yeah. He had explosive diarrhea when the other people had explosive vomiting. Okay. Not the same.
But the events bolstered the case that those who argue that, quote, pulsed energy devices, machines that deliver powerful beams of electromagnetic energy, such as microwaves and short bursts, can affect human biology and are probably being developed by U.S. adversaries.
Dun, dun, dun.
Quote, I think there's compelling evidence that we should be concerned about the ability to build a directed energy weapon that can cause a variety of risks to humans, said Paul Fredericks, a retired military surgeon at Air Force General who oversaw biological threats on the White House National Security Council under President Joe Biden. Fredericks declined to comment on the Norway experiment. You know, Norway, now that I think about Norway, I knew there was something. I'm like, there's something in Norway that's in the conspiracy milieu, and it's the Norway spiral. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Right when Obama was visiting Norway, that weird spiral appeared in the sky, and we were like, oh, Obama's opening the portal in Norway.
Right.
So that was years ago, but okay. There's something going on in Norway with the technology and the lasers and all that.
They also have the seed bank or whatever it's called.
Right. The DNA seed bank or something.
The Doomsday seed bank. They can
Noah's Ark.
Yeah, right. They can repopulate the earth with everything.
Great. Good job, Norway. In a separate development that has become public in recent weeks, the U.S. government covertly purchased at the end of the Biden administration a different foreign-made device that produces pulse radio waves and which some experts suspect could be linked to AHI incidents, according to 2 people familiar with the matter. The device is being tested by the Defense Department. It has some Russian origin components, but the U.S. government still has not determined conclusively who built it, said one of the people. The U.S. acquisition of the device was first reported last month by independent journalist Sasha Ingber and CNN. I didn't know CNN was the one breaking these stories, which said it had been purchased for millions of dollars by Homeland Security Investigations, part of the Department of Homeland Security. The device that the scientists constructed in Norway was not identical to the one that the U.S. government covertly acquired. One of the people familiar with the event said the Norwegian device was built based on, quote, classified information, suggesting it was derived from blueprints or other materials stolen from a foreign government, this person said. At about the same time the U.S. became aware of the 2 pulsed energy machines, 2 spy agencies altered, and that altered is a link to an archive, their previous judgment and concluded that some of the incidents involving AHIs could be the work of a foreign adversary. Delivering that verdict is an updated U.S. intelligence assessment issued in January 2025 during the Biden administration's final weeks. My gosh, they just take you on this journey of quagmire and just a labyrinth of things.
Because they're they're trying again. The people involved. It's really funny that there's all these anonymous sources, and they gotta push back, and they gotta do this and that, because the entire U.S. government now is bragging about directed energy weapons.
No, that's what's funny.
So like this
Yeah.
this thing to like, yeah, we don't know this. We don't know if this is real. It wasn't the
Yeah.
same symptom.
Department of War is posting memes about how they're laser dominant. And like
They're
all this crap.
bragging about directed energy weapons. They're bragging about LRADs. They're bragging about the Venezuelan technology. There's no reason to try to be coy about the Havana syndrome thing. You know, interestingly, I saw a post. I don't want to change the subject too much. Did you have anything else?
No, I mean there was just in the conclusion here, they interviewed some people that got hit with it. Mark Polymarket, a former CIA officer. A lot of these former CIA officers talking nowadays. And AHI victim who attended the unclassified meeting. There was talking about a meeting, said, quote, "It was clear to the victims, but also unsaid, that new information had come into the NSC that had caused them to make such a statement." The statement being, "We believe you," that you were actually attacked or whatever. So it's okay. Yeah. Great.
Nothing else. Great. I just saw a post that says, on February 17th was the eclipse. And the post claimed Epstein's death was 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days prior to the eclipse. And I go, okay, let's check it out. So I go over here to days since calculator. Epstein died on allegedly August 10th, 2019. February 17th was yesterday. And it is not 6 years, 6 months, 6 days. It's 6 years, 5 months, and 7 days. So,
oh, wow.
So close.
Quite a bit off.
Just had to fudge a little bit of numbers there. However, it is 77 months and 7 days since Epstein died and the eclipse. What do they have in common? I have no idea, but apparently I'm going to get some crunchy astrology ladies getting onto my feed now. And
yeah, you clicked the wrong things, buddy. You're in the astro algos now.
I can correct them when they tell me the 666. I say, no, you're missing it. It's 77.7. Okay. All right, beautiful. Let's see here. Do we have anything else for today? Let's check the update. Are we at war with Iran yet? Yeah, a lot of war with Iran stuff. Tucker Carlson was allegedly.
Oh, I saw. Yes, it looks like he was questioned in Israel, and he's calling it. What did he say? The headlines and everything are very.
Well, I don't know what you're looking at, but allegedly, according to the Daily Wire, Tucker was stopped at the Israeli airport after he interviewed U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, and he was detained.
Detained, yes, that's the big word that's being reported.
Interrogated at the Israeli airport. I have not talked to Tucker myself, but I'm assuming that this story going around. I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Daily Mail is saying that he was dragged into an interrogation room. But other reports I'm seeing are that he was just questioned with normal sort of,
Yeah, who knows?
Traveling, international travel type of stuff. Is he
Oh,
traveling
look at
with
that.
normal
Yeah,
people?
Hold on. Polymarket.
Okay.
Breaking.
Oh, gosh.
U.S. Embassy denies reports that Tucker Carlson was detained by Israeli intelligence.
Yeah, well, that's
what Polymarket says. The U.S. Embassy is denying it. Why is the U.S. Embassy denying it? I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's. I think he dramatized just some sort of pretty standard.
Detained is something specific. Detained is one of those legal words too. That's why you always ask an officer, "Am I being detained?" And if you're not being detained, you can just walk away. To be stopped and asked questions, doesn't necessarily mean you were detained. Even if you're asked to go into a room and answer questions, that's not necessarily detained. Detained means you're not allowed to leave that room. But that's the thing. You got to remember to ask if you can leave. That's always a good thing to remember. Otherwise, you're just, very politely having a conversation with somebody in a room.
Yeah. So, even the mainstream, not the mainstream, but even the Daily Mail, I don't think necessarily has. I don't think it was a detaining.
Daily Wire was the original report. I don't know.
Was it?
That's what they say. Daily Wire, Tucker Carlson, Israel. Tucker Carlson.
Real.
Oh, Daily Mail, Tucker Carlson detained in quotes. Give me the Daily Wire. Where's the Daily Wire? Well, apparently, oh, wow. It is hard to, if you Google Daily Wire, even the words, they do not like, they put it on like the second page. Let's see here. I'm not seeing anything. Sorry, Tucker. They detained him and he goes, guys, I'm CIA. They go, oh, sorry. Go ahead. Get on out of here.
Are we still not being streamed on X again?
I don't know.
You not know. Post. What is going on with that?
Yeah,
why isn't it posting? No, we are, but it didn't create a post. Usually it creates a post where people can share it and stuff, but that's not happening on the timeline. Like check your feed or your timeline.
I got other stuff going on, Gons.
That's why there's only one person on your feed and 20
nobody
on
watches my thing anyway, so
I know, but I'm just saying. Usually there's a post that I don't know. I think something's wrong with X today.
X is messing with us. Rumble's messing with us. Everybody's messing with us. All right. Caleb says, "I see you on X." Thank you. I see you.
Yeah, no, we are live. I'm just saying that usually there's like a post that embeds the feed and the video feed and everything. It's not happening.
I know they're holding us down again, but we can't be held down forever because we got God on our side and we've got our producers, folks. Thank you very much. I keep forgetting we need to start interspersing our producers throughout the show. I don't know how we got in this habit of doing it all at the end of the show again, but we do have producers. They come in. Here's the thing. We don't take any money from anybody, from corporations, commies, cartels, the government, Mossad, the Vatican, doesn't matter. We are entirely sustained by the good Lord above and our producers. They are people who understand the meaning of value for value. This is not a transactionary experience, folks. We'll always have the show 100% free, 100% out there because that's what matters the most. However, like everything else in this world, we cannot exist without value somehow coming back to us. And it's the real ones, the real people where the veil has fallen from their eyes. They don't just talk the talk on the internet about, oh, this commoditization of our consciousness, oh, advertising, oh, big data, so bad. And then they just sit there and watch advertisements all the time for their favorite podcasts. But not here, none of that. We only exist because real people out there say, hey, this is good. I don't want the influence of advertisers or monetary risks or adjustments to have any effect on my favorite podcast. And so I take a real responsibility for things that we want to exist in the world. And we have to do it actively. And this can look many different ways. Your time, your talent, your treasure, whatever it is, we invite you, we implore you to put some value back into the system. It's what's made the show so great for this long. It's what's going to keep us going. And I promise you, you will experience a new way of being when you let go of the transactionary thing. If you let go of letting corporations pay for the existence of your favorite podcast. I know it's easy. We're so used to just letting go and letting mammon decide what exists and doesn't exist, but we have that power too. The Lord has given it to us, and it is time for us to co-create. So come on in, value for value. If you get any value of out of what happens here, as often as we do, as whatever, then put some value back in with your time, your talent, your treasure. Lots of ways to do it. We have some executive producers. Oh yeah, make sure to go to canarycry.support to learn all about it.
Oh, no, I don't have it ready. Here we go. There it is.
There you go. We got to remember to do that because we've been forgetting to do that for a while now. And there's so many people, millions of people out there who are like, I want to support the show. I want to produce, but I don't know how. So go to canarycry.support. That's the place to do it. Our executive, big shout out to our supply drop members, our monthly producers around the world. Some have been with us for years and years, committing to just send a little bit of support our way every month. And it doesn't matter how much it is. You'll see those options at canarycry.support. Just pray about it, whatever the Lord leads you to do. Those recurring monthly producerships, we could not survive without them. And every little bit helps. So God bless you, monthly producers, especially our supply drop producers who go to canarycrysupplydrop.com and they support the show for $33.33 a month. And every quarter, we send them things that they cannot get anywhere else. Treasures, trinkets, things that will open your eyes to exactly what value means in this world. And we are, thankfully, people who were not able to sign up for the supply drop last quarter, they can sign up in the next, 10 days? Do it now. Don't even wait 10 days. If you sign up for the supply drop in the next 10 days, we will throw in a Canary Cry calendar, which is the most important object that you could possibly own, especially for this year, possibly the last year of human existence, which is filled with Canary Cry artists' art and holidays on almost every single day that you will not find on any other calendar in existence. What, are you interested in the biblical feasts? Are you interested in the CIA holidays and in the anniversaries of important conspiracy theory events going on? You want to keep up with the Skull and Bones yearly, shenanigans. Also, celebratory days that have to do with the show, remembrances of historical events that happen on the show and off. It's an incredible calendar. Everybody loves it. We've got people who commit to getting one every year because it just changes your whole. If every day you look at a calendar that it's going to change your whole year, every day will have deeper and deeper layers of meaning and connections to history and your favorite podcasts and everything. It's really a way to set a good tone for the year. And this is your last chance to get it. If you sign up for the supply drop, you'll get the calendar and you will get a gold back. That's right. An actual gold negotiable instrument, a bill created specifically for the transaction of gold, just like currency, legal tender all over the United States. And you get one right there in your mailbox. So we have Sir Ike to thank for that. And time's running out. Only 10 more days. Go to canarycrysupplydrop.com. We also have executive producers. Executive producers are people who produce the show, any individual episode like this, for $100 or more, which makes them very important, and we're very grateful to them. We have one executive producer today. I bet you could guess who it is. That's right. It's executive producer Sir Alex Protocol, V2 Baron of the Berean Protocol.
Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol.
Coming in for $100.33.
Illuminatus!
He's on a 464 episode streak and a 118 executive producer streak. There you go. Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol. We had a handful of people, a couple people come in under the executive producer amount. Remember, you can produce the show for whatever you want. It's all very helpful. We have producer Rebecca T who comes in.
Rebecca T, thank you.
Producer Rebecca T, and she comes in. It was hard to tell what the purpose, which number to go. She either came in for $17.21 or $16.15 plus fees. Either way, thank you very much, Rebecca T. Appreciate that.
Yep, thank you.
Back on the list, we've got producer Sir Marty K.
Sir Marty K, thank you.
Okay, this is actually his second episode in a row, so he is now technically on a streak. Comes in for $13.33.
Oh, 33.33. Okay.
Illuminatus!
Okie dokie, everybody. Buckle up. Sir Marty sent a note here, and I'm going to read it. He says, "Hey, Canaries, look, all of the nonsense your current administration is saying about Denmark is just flat out wrong, and it was the same thing the last time Trump was in power." Danish culture, they must be playing like Trump clips in Denmark or something, because I
like 24/7 Trump clips in Denmark, and just I don't know.
I think maybe this is why I get confused at his notes, because I have not seen Trump say anything about Denmark in quite some time. But all right, here we go. Reading the note. Danish culture is not in decline. The white race is not being outbred by the Muslims. We have blue-eyed babies and kids left and right and center everywhere. Denmark is not a socialist country. It's a capitalist democracy, and Christmas and Christianity are not under attack and siege, okay? That's nonsense. But there is a vastly big difference between being an American Christian and being an European Christian. Please play this video, if you please. It is from a devoted American Lutherist Christian lady, and yes, she is white lady, so calm down, MAGA-tards, who migrated to Denmark a year ago and some change. It's 3 minutes and 33 seconds long, and it explains Danish Christianity and our country pretty well. All right. Thank you for all that very good information about Danish culture, Sir Marty. We're not going to play the video. It's 3 minutes, 33 seconds. I did watch the video, and it was a lady who moved to Denmark, and she says, while only 3% of people go to church in Denmark, everybody is very kind to their neighbor and treats everybody very well. And so they are more Christian than American Christians. So she did actually reference Denmark as a socialist country in the video, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with Sir Marty instead of the lady from the video there. So there you go. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't know what message you're getting over there about. Don't
conflate us with Trump, other than we're both American. I don't think there's anything other than.
I think we're a little bit of a catcher's mitt for some foreign people, some overseas people who, they're over there, they're getting the media that they get, and they want to defend their country from something. So thank you very much, Sir Marty. He did send a private note as well to let me know that Trump is a Nazi and that we got to be careful. So there we go. Thank you very much, Sir Marty K, for the support. And thank you for setting everybody straight on Danish culture.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we've got producer Bruce W. Bruce W.
Thank you, Bruce.
For 1111.
1111.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Other than that, we've got our producers who come in. What? Yeah.
No coffee.
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Why do I keep forgetting? It got off the list somehow, is how I keep forgetting. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. Your value for value one-stop shop to get coffee you can't get anywhere else. And I hear you. You might think, coffee I get's fine. I go to Starbucks, or I get my coffee from the grocery store. I'm telling you, you're missing out. A Canarian that you love and you adore scours the earth and sources beans from places that I didn't even know had beans, but they are non-GMO, they are organic. He makes very sure of that. Then they are roasted in extremely small batches by another Canarian who has made this his life's work, and they are packaged up and made available strictly to Canarians. And here's the thing, it's a great value over there. It is great quality. I cannot vouch for it enough, and I get endless messages from people who have only the best things to say about the Cage Rattler coffee. And, you got your Nephilim dark roast, your Emu Wrangler medium roast. You got beans from all over the place. You can also get the sampler pack where you get a bunch of different kinds. That's a good way to start. Then, of course, there's the Coffee of the Month Club for your nice, subscription. Set it, forget it. Make sure that coffee shows up. You don't want to have to get caught going to the store without your caffeine on. Go get it. It's the best. And let's see here. I was going to see if there was some sort of extra info I needed to give. I'm not sure if there was. Apologies if not, but go get it. It's the best. I have it every morning. Do you have it every morning, Gonzo?
I try to. Yep. Until I run out, and then
that's
I wait for more.
That's the one sad thing about Cage Rattler coffee is when you run out of Cage Rattler coffee. So go. Oh, and the best part is you're supporting the show. A portion of every sale, value for value, comes to support the show, and you're supporting other Canarians. If Canarian would even as a relatively modest online community like ours, if we made a habit of supporting each other and each other's businesses, as well as supporting the community as a whole, I mean, this is where you really find that freedom from mammon, man. It's a real good deal. So go check it out, CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Yep.
All right. We had some producers that come in under the $7.77 mark. We thank them on Wednesdays, usually because they're just keeping big old streaks going. So we'll thank some of our streakers today. Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman is on a 192 episode streak.
Thank you, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman.
Veronica D is on a 551 episode streak.
Veronica D.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, is on a 600 episode streak.
Oh, do we have a 600?
I don't think we do, because we just had Sir Casey the Shield Knight, who's now on 605.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
There we go. Thank you to all of our financial producers keeping us alive. Again, big old thank you to everybody who goes to Cage Rattler Coffee and those who support us on a monthly basis in whatever amount that is. Remember, there's also, of course, canarycrysupplydrop.com. Go check it out. Supply drops going out soon. Big bonus. There's also the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. If you're someone who wears clothes, this is a great option for you. Go to canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com, and every quarter you will be tasked with the rest of your T-shirt council members to vote on the Canary Cry T-shirt for that quarter, and then we will send it out to you for free. Very fun, a little bit more active participation in the history of humanity. Highly recommend the T-shirt council as well. All right, let's see. We got some meetups coming up. Let's make sure to check out the meetups. Go to canarycrymeetups.com.
North Glen, Colorado, coming up on February 28th. That's a Saturday. RSVP with Kona. Yep, there's a phone number there. Go to canarycrymeetups.com and see it right there.
RSVP to Kona. Just send Kona a text there.
Yep. And the other one, March 3rd, meet up with Andy in downtown Los Angeles. So if you're in that area, RSVP Andy.
Yuko Kitchen, 3 p.m. Again, another RSVP phone number. And look, you're not required to RSVP to these hosts, but I will tell you, they will very much appreciate just a little text. Say, hey, I'm coming to the meetup. Thanks for doing it. These hosts, they're making it happen. They're stepping out, and just a little bit of communication always helps. But if you don't have a phone, or you're confused as what a phone number is, make sure to show up to the meetup anyways. And if there's not a meetup near you, put one on yourself. It's easy. Just pick a time, pick a place, email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com and just tell us, hey, I will be here at this time, in this city, at this place. Please tell the world, and we will tell the world. And Canarians in your area will show up, and you guys can fellowship and plan how to survive the coming apocalypse. You need a buddy. You need a buddy in your area, so go do that.
Yep.
Okay, let me just scroll here, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Text messages.
Oh, yeah, text messages. Join the Canary Cry text message alert system. It's easy. Take out your phone, open the text messages, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And you start receiving text messages from me just before we go live every show. And fun part is you can text us back at that number, which is a very important thing to do. You can text back whatever you want. I don't know. You could be like Monica, who says, "Thank you, everyone who has prayed for my husband's success during negotiations this week. He's working hard today, and I could still use prayer. Please pray that the Lord will continue to guide Seth and that he has a good outcome. Thanks, fam." There you go. Let's hit those producers.
Producers. Here we go.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. Everybody's a producer today. All you got to do is spiritually produce the show, praying for the show, praying for Gons and I, pray for the request that comes in. And today we're praying for Monica, a producer of the show. We're praying that Seth continues. He had his successful negotiations this week with his company, but he's got to keep going. We're going for a good outcome, so pray for Seth. But we're also praying. What are we praying for? Thanks. He's working hard. Please pray that the Lord will continue to guide Seth and that he has a good outcome. There you go. Praying for Seth, everybody.
Yep.
We got a text here from 907. Says, "Greetings from South Central Alaska. I'm going to keep saying it till it's true. The reason glitter is a national security threat is because it's going to become the substitute for thermonuclear weapons. Sure, it's all smiles and one day, but 1 month after 10 tons of glitter falls on your city, it's not funny anymore. Also, do you think that military-grade chaff, aluminum-coated glass fibers, might just be glitter?" Yeah, I think so. I think glitter has all sorts of military uses we're not being told. Thank you very much, South Central Alaska. Let's see. 507. Oh, this is Bibu Zuzu, Dame of Harmony, Hot Dish, and Glitchy Gumi says, hey, Canary fam, praying for a great show. Just got done shoveling out from our thunder blizzard, so I'm looking forward to relaxing on the couch and listening to you guys. Thank you very much, Dame Bibu Zuzu.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's this? 940 sent me a picture of his hard hat for, construction guy hard hat, and it's covered in Canary Cry stickers from the supply drop.
Nice.
Good repping on the job site. Thank you very much.
Protect your brain and your soul.
That's right. Put on your helmet of salvation. I think that's it. Yep, I think that's it. We had some more, but those are the fun ones. Thank you, everybody, for doing that. And take out your phone, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Do it now.
All right.
All right.
Sweet.
All good?
All good.
Okay, of course. Thank you to our timestamper. Appreciate everything you do for us. Got your email.
It's hard work. Timestamp.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson, for doing the timestamps last episode. Thank you to Jam for heading up the Telegram channel, Adam42 heading up the Discord channel. If you're not in the Telegram group or the Discord group yet, go to canarycry.party. You'll see the invite links there. Join in, say hi. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clink for clinking. Thank you to Ike for everything you do, Sir Ike. And other than that, share the show, friends, with all the madness, all the Tucker Carlson, all the Iran, all the Epstein stuff. It is time to share the show with everyone around you who is just discovering this. And if they don't have some good influence, they're going to get all their Epstein news from Reuters, and somehow it'll all be Trump's fault. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your potted plants that the show is here for them. We call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Shalom Girl says, please pray for my failing health. In Jesus Christ's holy name, amen. Okay, producers, we're praying for Shalom Girl 777. Shalom Girl 777 also said, I delivered 2 parachutes to the Bible Club in Alaska. That sounds like a cool Bible club. If they need parachutes, praying for you, Shalom Girl. John, you got any last words?
I'm just looking at the calendar here. Tomorrow is the Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia being founded. Which is a good day for the Iran thing, but also the 20th of February, grandfather of robotics, George Charles Duvall Jr., inventor of the first robot.
Ooh,
Unimate is born. Yeah, and it's also Chris Saliza's birthday on Friday. So, you know, the Iranian situation, they got a few options here.
Big week. Big week.
Yep. We'll be back on Banana Bread Day.
Is that Monday? Banana Bread Day?
Monday. Yep.
Okay. I'm shooting to do a Canary Cry Clubhouse tomorrow unless something awful happens. So please pray for that. And we'll see you tomorrow live here, same time, same place. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
We're all gonna die.
And a resounding baka flies through the air across the world. Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. They have a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? It'll be their call out. They have a lot of people screaming randomly.
Go ahead and...
Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Necro-capitalism.
Profiteers of death.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
He's got the solutions for the problems that he created. Just step right up for the great reset. For the great reset. Hiding in the shadows, he's always behind the scenes. He's pulling on the purse string. He's got control of everything. He's got the solutions to the problems that he created. So sit right up for the great reset. For the great reset. serves his master with fervor. He's a Luciferian, bound up and determined to bring us to an end. It's the finest solution, destroy the human race. So we'll cry it up to the great reset, to the great reset. For the great reset, there's only one way out to the door, but you'll need the code 10, 5, 19, 21, 19. Or you can step right up for the great reset, for the great reset, for the great reset, for the great reset.
We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cried at